Hello everyone, Marcus here from MedPack, and today we have a very special guest, Jay Boston. But before I even start this, I wanted just to have a bit of conversation with you guys because obviously having Jay Boston on the channel is a hot topic if we want at the moment because of what happened. Um, Basically, why I wanted just to give this message first. We are not here to attack anybody. Everyone have their own problems. I don't work for Evolve. I don't work for Xway, and in the end of the day, you also don't work for those companies. And just to give you an idea, before I even started doing this live, I have someone that have some power inside the e-skate community saying that if I was going to do this live, I will be basically on the blacklist of the e-skate community. And it's ridiculous because if you think about it, in the end of the day, it's like I'm asking you if you are married with someone and you guys break up, you are asking me to don't talk anymore with your wife or with your husband, whatever. And it doesn't make any sense. So obviously, in the end of the day, I don't agree with what happens. I think that obviously Jay Boston have done a bad decision, but that is an individual decision. In the end of the day, in the other side, we have a corporation that have done a wrong decision. And the only thing that they show is they are scared, in my opinion, they are scared of the Chinese boards. That is also funny because here I have one board from a brand that unfortunately is gone, but the tires and the bearings, they are produced in the same factory where comes the tires and the bearings of Evolve. So funny fact, Chinese company, they are produced in the same places. Besides that, they just show that they are scared of what is happening on the moment, on the market, on the e-skates community. Because before, obviously the Chinese boards, they was quite cheap and the quality was quite noticeable, the difference. But also, funny fact, also with the Chinese boards, I never had problems of connections with my controls or sag on my batteries. So if we come back to the first generation of Evolve, that's what you had. But yeah, I just wanted to put this out before I bring Jay Boston because I'm here just to have some fun, and I started doing these lives to have some fun with you guys and to talk. So let's bring Jay Boston and talk. If he wants to answer for some questions about this, you are completely free to ask, and he's completely free to talk about it. Okay, so let's bring Jay Boston on the show. How are you, my friend?
How you doing?
I tried to make it the short as possible, but I needed to just say what I have to say before I bring you live.
Nice little intro there, and yeah, I think it kind of summarizes what happened, and I'm more than happy to talk about it. And if people have questions, we can definitely have a chat about it. But really, for me, like my relationship, like you said at the start, I've never been paid by Xway. I've never been paid by Evolve. I've never really been paid by any electric skateboarding company other than the fact that they've sent me product. That's really what it just comes down to. To review, not as a reward or anything, to review, to see how it rides, and I'll give an unbiased opinion. I know a lot of people out there think that I'm getting paid stupid amounts of money for some of the things that I do. It's not the case. Like, I don't really want to be paid for my reviews or anything like that, because then you have to be kind of biased as well. So, if you're getting paid by somebody and you actually give them a really bad review, then you're never going to, work with them again. But if you give them an honest review that they haven't paid for, then they kind of understand it too. But one of the things that I'm frustrated at is, like with the community, we have a very cool, tight community. I know you do EUCs and the electric skateboard community. It's incredibly tight. There's a lot of community. There's a lot of sub-communities in there too. For instance, the Lacroix guys are just on another level. They just love Lacroix and they love everything about it, and they help each other, and it's awesome to see. But then you get these people that are just haters, and there's a minority of them, and they're keyboard warriors, and they think every time someone stuffs up, it's the worst thing in the world, and that they should stop doing what they're doing, and it's just not cool. Like, everyone makes mistakes. Imagine, for instance, if you fell off at EUC and let's say you broke your elbow. Oh, I'm done with EUC. Like, I'm never going to go on it again. And, and all these people are like, oh, you idiot. How did you fall? Like, no, you get back up and you keep going. And as long as you learn from it and you evolve from it, then you're gonna go somewhere in life. But if someone starts to say you should quit YouTube, you've ruined your reputation, all that kind of stuff. Not really. You've made a mistake. And my mistake, I owned. I didn't initially. I went, as soon as I woke up and saw what everyone was talking about, I'm like, hold on a second, guys, what are you talking about? And then later that day, I was like, yeah, I can kind of see what everyone's commenting about now, and said, look, sorry for giving Maddie, who's a very close friend of mine, actually, we're about to, once the COVID restrictions here in Australia are eased, our plan is to do some abandoned building exploration together and catch up and lots of stuff, but outside of the skateboarding stuff. But again, the skateboarding stuff's what brought us together, which is really cool. But getting back to Exway, like in the past, I've been working with Exway for years, and they've sent us boards, and they've said they've never given me any kind of conditions. They're like, just here it is, do what you want with it, which is great, and that's what you want as a reviewer. And yeah, I've done demo days, we've done giveaways, we've promoted new products and the Riot Pack and all that kind of stuff. Everything was really good until, yeah, I made a mistake of giving it the board to somebody who I didn't think would create a video on it for Evolve, because it's never happened before, just to have a go. And it backfired. And then, I've tried to email, I've tried to get on Messenger, I've tried phone calls and all kinds of stuff to get onto Exway, and nothing. It's just dead noise. I can understand from their point of view that that's the case, but I think if you've been working with someone for that long and they've provided such good YouTube video content and good positive reviews, that you kind of owe them to have a chat with them, and you can just say, look, let's clear it, let's understand it, let's figure it out and move on. And that's not what happened, unfortunately. I'm still looking forward to catching up with Exway. I'm still wanting to have that chat and to see if things can be like, go back to normal. But I understand if they don't want that, that's cool. And yeah, things like that have happened with Exway in the past, where, if they're not happy with something, they just knock you off, and not in a bad way, but it just happens. So that's where, I see its position. It's been a long time now since that happened. I know Evolve have copped a whole lot of abuse that you've seen, and I think, yeah, like I know Matt put the video together, showed it to Jeff. Jeff's like, yep, run it. So they did have an internal kind of approval for that video to go up.
They have to. They are a company.
Yeah, that's right. And at the end of the day, Matty's working for Evolve, and Evolve made the decision to put it up, and I think it's still up. I haven't even checked, to be honest.
I think it's still.
Yeah. So that's it. Yeah, and I can see the Black Cobra is asking what happened. Quickly. Yeah, been working for Exway for a couple of years, not working with them, but doing video content for them. And they gave me a prototype of the Exway Flex. I've been riding around. Again, when they sent it to me, there was no conditions, no terms, no nothing. I took it to a group ride, which is the last video that I put up last week. Everyone was having to go. Everyone's like, oh, this is mad, this is awesome. And I think even, because Evolve were at that group ride, Maddie's like, oh, do you mind if I can go for a ride? I'm like, sure, I need to get this board back to 12 board store here in Melbourne. Want to have a look at it. They might want to stock it. So can you drop it in at them? And he's like, no problem. So I wasn't quite sure if they were going to be making a video or not. I found out on the day that Evolve was uploading their video that video was going up. And I'm like, oh, this is going to go nuts. Which they've never done before with any other competitor. They've never shown another skateboard on their YouTube YouTube channel before. So
that shows how strong are the Chinese boards.
Yeah, like you got to admit, like Backfire's doing great. Exway's kind of now wanting to compete directly with Evolve, and Exway, which was once a very small electric skateboard company with great tech, is really starting to put a dent into the e-skate community, and people are rallying about it. And Exway looks like they're bringing out an all-terrain board. They've just started showing photos of the Wave with the lights on the front, which is quite cool. So yeah, it's interesting, and I don't think Evolve's too concerned. They've got a roadmap and a plan of what they're bringing out. I don't know what it is at all, but obviously big businesses like theirs obviously has to have a plan. of how they're going to compete and how they're going to stay relevant and how they're going to make sure what happened to Boosted doesn't happen to them. So it's interesting times, yeah. Like and again, like with the COVID stuff, deliveries are so expensive now outside of China, and the Backfire and Exway, I think it's like $100 to get it shipped to Australia now, where it used to be $20. So it's massive.
Yeah, I have two brands that I'm waiting, two brands of electric skateboards. So I'm waiting a skateboard from Max Find.
Yep.
I don't know if you know the brand.
Yep.
And I'm waiting also one from Bound Motor. And yeah, they are still having issues to send me the stuff.
Yeah. So you're not waiting for one from Jetboards by any chance, are you?
Sorry?
You're not waiting for one from Jetboards?
No, definitely not. Otherwise, you wait forever. That is the most funny without being funny, because I really remember, because in that time when the Jetboard came out, I even never ride a skateboard in my life. And it was basically in the time that I started seeing your videos, and I love it, the J board, and you was the only one that had some videos with that board.
Yeah, which is funny because I got invited to go to Singapore and see Jeremy and go for a ride and test out his board, and at that time it was almost there. It was a little bit clunky, and I could see that he'd spent a lot of time on it, so you wanted to give it the benefit of the doubt. Helped him at a trade show down here, and he had very ambitious plans of how much he was going to get that going there. And look, ambition is a great thing. I think anybody in this community needs it. And I know he's gone through a whole heap of mess with firmware, and it's all on their blogs and all that kind of stuff. So,
but they are still in the game.
I don't know. I mean, they've got the BOA wheels and they're out, and I don't know if they're shipped or anything, but I don't know.
I just saw a post of them like saying that they was almost ready to go, but it's not the first time that I see a post of them saying that.
Yeah,
almost.
I find the posts are very cleverly worded. Their last one. Whoops, their last one. Was about they've completed the firmware and they're prepping production, prepping planning or something. And I'm like, prepping to plan to produce. Like, I was like, what is that? So I don't know. I really keep away from Jetboards now. There's nothing really to report. So I don't really report too much on that. But I can see Thomas B-Boy Stretch in the chat. I do owe him a photo. He wants to do something on his tramper similar to mine with the lights. So, hey, B-Boy Stretch. Everyone's starting to roll in. It's good. But yeah, so we started chatting like a week or so ago, and you're hardcore into the EUC, which is pretty sweet. What's your EUC of choice at the moment?
So basically, the first one that I purchased was the 9-bot C10.
Oh yeah, cool.
Oh, basically, my wife purchased for me. And Chris.
And she rides too.
She started now. She started, man. I'm super proud of her, and it's so cool to go on a ride with your wife. It's amazing. But yeah, I started with the Z10. I was super scared to ride with it. Since I opened, it was damaged. It was not turning on because the Z10 have a problem on the BMS, and if it takes too long to come from China, you can't have to charge it, so you have to just plug directly on the batteries to bring the power up above the minimum of the BMS.
Yeah.
So that was my first wheel that I ride already 3,000 kilometers with it, and I have also a King Song 16X that I have done almost 3,000 kilometers also with that one.
Decent.
It's completely different. I don't have a car, so I used to have a car in the UK. I sent it back to Portugal because I completely stopped. I said, no, from now on, I just use electric unicycles to commute every single day. And in 1 year, I used my car 3 times.
Wow. Yeah. So you don't want to pay for fuel, registration, tax, all that stuff on it.
Man, and it is a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. I remember many times to go like for a dinner with some friends, with my wife, and my wife going with the car and I was going with the wheel. We met there and we were just living in the same house.
And you probably got there before her?
Normally 5 minutes of difference.
Okay, not too bad.
So not too bad.
But you've had fun, and she's just been sitting in this silver coffin all the way to dinner.
I go like,
Crazy.
woo, enjoying, man.
Yeah, yeah,
But yeah,
exactly.
I have some questions. It's not so much about skateboards, or it's more because, like I told you before we started the live, I started looking for skateboards because of you. I started seeing your videos, and you convinced me I want a skateboard.
Hmm.
And so I have more curiosity to know you a bit more about your personal life, if it makes sense, and also your professional life.
Yeah,
And in that way, I can understand a bit more how you get where you are today. Nothing related with what happens a few weeks ago, but really
yeah.
your everything that you've done all these years. So my first question that I have to you is, when do you start your channel, and why? Why you start doing videos?
If you ever go back and see my first ever video, it is super cringeworthy. It is me sneezing about 50 times in a row on the way to go and get bakery goods. And it wasn't even anything to do with electric skateboards. But um, I noticed that my life was very much like Groundhog Day. It was go to work, come home, sit in front of the telly, go to sleep. And you have your friends and things around you, but I felt like I wasn't really. And look, I've got a really great business that I started 19 years ago that I'm in right now. This is the office here, and yeah, it just feels like a repetitive cycle every day. And I really wanted to break it. I really wanted to learn how to record, how to edit, how to shoot. And there's so much to learn. Like even 3.5 years since I started my channel, I'm still learning new ways to do things. I'm still learning how to live stream better and talking to
Me
people
too.
like this. And yeah, it's crazy. Like I've been looking at your channel and your thumbnails are just awesome, and
Thank
you
you, man.
really should be getting so much more viewership than what you have at the moment. But it's um it's filling up life with things where you're learning and evolving and challenging yourself. And I saw this as a big challenge. Like being on YouTube, um, it's hard. It takes up a lot of time, but it's so rewarding at the same time too.
Yeah, but it's also you take a lot of punches, if it makes sense,
Oh yeah,
because
yeah,
it's really easy to people be behind a keyboard and attack you, because they
yeah,
don't have to show their faces. And so many times I remember like, oh, you seems like Borat talking in English. Why you do these videos?
yeah,
And this was even one of the most friendly comments, bad comments that I had in the beginning. It hurt me a bit, all those bad comments, but now I just ignore, because if you do that, it's because your life is
mm,
really sad life, and you need to do that to feel someone, or feel that you are important, if it makes
yeah.
sense.
Look, I've
So
got people in my physical life as well that just like to bring people down. They like to, and then you look at their life and you're like, well, the only thing they've got going for them is this drama that they're causing themselves, and I don't want to be a part of that. And that's why I think you should only really have in life maybe 12, maybe less, really close friends that you value and they value you. You can probably right now, click of a finger, figure out who your best friend is, because who's been there for you ever since you were born or ever since you started school or whatever. You would know instantly who that person is. I know right now who that is. That you could even not see them or speak to them for a year, get back together, catch up for a drink, and it will be like it was yesterday.
yeah.
You don't really have that kind of connection on YouTube, but I'm finding more and more. Thomas B-Boy Stretch, a guy from the UK, you probably know. Have you heard of him?
No, I don't know
No,
him.
yeah, he does. He hasn't heard of you, but he's like, yeah, I'm going to join this channel. But he's awesome. We chat probably every 2 days, and I know that it could be 6 months from now, and we come back together, and we're ready to chat about skateboards or what we want to do next
But
year in the community. And
you know that is funny. Is also those type of things that, since I, for example, I left my country, that was one of the things that I could really notice who really liked me and who really cares about me. Because
yeah,
I had some friends that they basically forgot that I'm there, even if I was going to Portugal and saying like, oh, let's be together, and they don't do anything to be together, you know. But I have others that they do everything just to have a conversation with me and spend 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever, you know.
yeah,
And here is the same. Also, I feel also my channel is still small, but I have persons that they respect what I do, and they understand that I do this for fun.
yeah,
In the same time, became my full time. So now I'm just going full time and putting 3 videos a week. And because of coronavirus is the only way that I can make some money. But you know how it works. It's not easy to make money online. Many people think that maybe we are full of money doing this, but
No,
it's
that's not
not
the
true.
case. That's right. If I was making stacks of money, I wouldn't be working at my job. I wouldn't be here 7:30 to 6:30 every day, trying to make ends meet, trying to support family, that kind of thing. So it's tough. And I know, like, yeah, you're going through some tough times at the moment, and you're trying to find things that interest you, that you're motivated about, that can make you money. And that's what I think is really important. One of the questions I can see Thomas.
I just put one here from Black Cobra. That is, it's really funny. This guy, he just put a shout out to me. Is from the EUC community. He have also a YouTube channel. And yesterday, I think it was yesterday. Yeah, Black Cobra. That we spent like 1 hour on the phone. So my wife was already sleeping, and he called me. And we stayed 1 hour talking, man. It was so cool, and it seems that we are friends forever. So he's asking, and obviously I'm going to let you talk because you know better electric skateboards than me. Who makes the best board in your opinion?
Oh, Tramper, hands down. And I know some people are going to be, saying why and all this kind of stuff. Like, Lacroix's up there as well, but you think about the amount of time that Tramper's been in the business. And that they custom make everything, like Lacroix as well. But the Vesk that's in it, it's got so much history, so much experience. They are so dedicated to their craft. They're doing super well. I even spoke to Ted from Tramper a couple of days ago, just on Messenger or whatever it was, and he's like, "Yeah, we're loving life. Like, guys are good. The community is still the same way that it was 3 years ago, but it's expanding. And even." Without going too deep, some of the owners of these boards are going through family stuff. They've got their own issues. They've got their own problems.
Tell me about it.
Yeah, and you don't see that kind of stuff.
You tried the leaf board or not?
Yeah, tried that.
You know that this brand basically he finished because of his own life, personal life.
And that's what I don't think really comes through. Yeah, I think it's funny. Like, even these days, you look at, because of COVID, everyone's restricted. So Ricky Gervais is doing his own live stream. Gordon Ramsay's doing his own videos at home every day. And it's more real than we've ever seen them before. And people actually respond to it. It's really nice and they like it. So whether or not your channel can be a little bit more human, you can, and if you want to, if you really want to show off your kids, or if you really want to show your house or your address or whatever it is, that's up to you. But I think it's starting to get that the realness of it is becoming a little bit more important to people, for making sure that they connect on a deeper level too. So for me, the abandoned building stuff and my reactions is my emotional kind of kickback. I involve my kids a little bit on Instagram, but really not on YouTube that much, unless I'm taking my boy in the back of a skateboard on a kiddie cart racing around the local park or whatever. But it's I find that, humanizing is just probably a little bit what people want these days. It's not all about the reviews. It's about your review and your experience and that kind of thing. And I think your reviews are like that too. You're going out with your girlfriend a little bit, or partner, wife, whatever.
Yeah.
Wife?
I call wife because for me, in the moment that you live together and you have a life and you have animals and bills to pay, for me, it's not anymore a girlfriend, if it makes sense. It's just a paper, yeah?
Yeah, exactly. At least she's not really asking for that ring on her finger.
Exactly, but no.
Yeah, but even, Thomas is talking about this at the moment. How do you know if someone's genuine and someone who's not leeching off you? I think the best way you can tell is if they don't have these emotional traits with you. You know what I mean? So if they're asking, how's life? How are you feeling? How are you coping with this? Like, they want to know how you are on an emotional level.
Yeah.
I think that's when you know if someone is genuine. If someone's just coming to you and saying, can you do a review for me? How's my review? Where's my review? That kind of thing. Then you know that that's what they're after.
I'm going to be honest, when that happens, when companies, they do that for me, man, it's completely the opposite. They are going to get it.
Yeah.
Because I really hate, first of all, I'm quite, at the moment, I'm really strategic in what I'm going to put out, because you are on YouTube for much longer than me, and you know that if you do the wrong video, it just crashes your channel. So if you are just going up, the algorithm of YouTube is start to push you. But if you do a video that went not so well and the community didn't really like it, is you have to basically restart building up. So at
Yeah,
least
but
for now,
yeah,
it's been good since
yeah.
the last 2 weeks, at least for me. But yeah, my next question that I have for you is when do you start using electric skateboards? And my curiosity is also is if you used normal skateboards before, and which brand was that skateboard?
Cool. So when I was 6, I got my first skateboard from my parents. I only used it for about 3 months. I hated pushing. I hated going up hills. so, it sat in the closet for a long, long time until obviously I found that skateboards could have motors on the back of them about 3.5 years ago. My first electric skateboard was the Gen 2 Evolve. I did a bit of research. I really wanted it to be the boosted board because everyone's seen Casey flying around New York on that.
Yeah.
It had huge exposure. But to get that here in Australia at that time, it was like twice the amount in Australian dollars. It was like $3,000. And I was just like, no, I can't do that. So I looked locally, noticed that Evolve were here and they were doing some cool things and they had some good reviews. Only themselves, really. They didn't have really any other reviews on YouTube at all. So I got myself one, started to review that. That grew slowly. And then, upgraded to the GTR. Did reviews on that, and then all of a sudden, all these brands are starting to say, "Hey, we want to send you skateboards." I think the first one I did was Meepo, the Meepo One.
I tried to work with them, but I never could.
It's a challenge. Like when I started doing reviews, I was about your subscriber count, and I think because now YouTube's saturated by people that are doing reviews on this kind of stuff, it's a lot harder to try and request you do reviews with skateboards, if they can send them to you and all that kind of stuff. It's a lot more challenging. Even for me, I find it challenging as well. Like sometimes I'll write directly to a manufacturer. I did this with Transite, which is a Sydney-based electric skateboard company, and said, "Hey, I've seen your skateboards. I really love what you're doing there. Let me know if you want to do anything together. I'd love to do a review." And he got back within half an hour and said, "Yeah, we'd love for you to do a review. We'll send down a skateboard. Do whatever you want with it. Just we want honesty." I'm like, that's exactly what I want to. We did it, loved it, put it online, and that's a good story. That's a good one. But then sometimes like you'll get I got, what was it? It was called the Peak electric skateboard.
I remember, quite cheap one, yeah.
Yeah, it was just one of these ones that you could just tell they've put together with OEM and put it together really fast and tried to put a heap of batteries in it, and you hit the accelerator and it was really twitchy and just didn't like it. And I put it up. I'm like, no, I'm not going to rave about this. And never spoke to them again either. But you got to be honest as a reviewer.
My first experience with the electric skateboard. Funny fact, you can go on my channel and you see it was the Slick Revolution Flex E, and basically I remember to talk with Robert, and he said, "Can we talk on the phone?" I said, "Yeah, no problem at all." We start talking on the phone, and he was like, "Do you ride electric skateboards?" I said, "No, I never had one." And normal skateboards, do you have experience? No, I don't, but I really want to cover them on my channel. Do you have a helmet? No, I don't. So you have to buy a helmet, otherwise you'll not be able to review my skateboard. I said, no problem at all. The truth is, in that time for me, the skateboard was a good skateboard because I don't have a comparison. But the brakes on that skateboard was so dangerous that I had a massive accident with that skateboard. So basically, if you grab the control until halfway, nothing happened. And after when you was pushing the rest, it was like you was just jumping out of the board. And I fall at 35 kilometers per hour. I fracture my coccyx, and I still have some pain. But it's much better. And obviously after when I start using other electric skateboards like this little boy, the Liftboard Plus, I love this skateboard. I think when I saw it, I thought I was really scared because of the accident that I had with the Slick Revolution, and because it was so much bigger, I thought, no, this is going to be dangerous because it's super short, but the truth is, it's really well built. It's super fast, 27 kilometers per hour. The control have a very, very good response. The brakes, they are not violent. You brake slowly and you are in control, because obviously like with the skateboards, you need to change the position of your body to when you want to accelerate or when you want to brake. And that is one thing that you don't have with electric unicycles. With the electric unicycles, the wheel responds depending on the position of your body. So that is one of the beauties of electric unicycles.
Exactly. And I think as well, most of the EUCs that are out there are very responsive in their software. So it doesn't feel twitchy. Like most of the major ones that you've got, it feels quite natural. Like once, one of the guys here, I had a Kingsong 20L, I think it was, that one of the guys here let us borrow for a month or so. And one of the guys that works for us, a German guy, he got on it, and it was as if he'd been on it before, but he hadn't. He was flying around this office like you wouldn't have seen. And he got it straight away. Whereas with me, with EUCs, I've tried for hours and hours and hours to get on it and understand the movement.
I'm going to do a video because I really don't agree the way that people teach how to use an electric unicycle. So I'm going to really soon deliver a video that is how I teach someone to use an electric unicycle.
Gotcha.
A friend of mine 5 minutes later was riding it. Another friend of mine 15 minutes later was riding it.
So what I've been doing is going around a football field along the fence line and just holding onto the fence as I go. And then every so often when I can, I stop.
That I don't think that is the best way, because when you want to learn to use an electric unicycle, and imagine your arm is standing to the side because you are just grabbing, your body is not balanced anymore. So you take much longer to learn how to use an electric unicycle if you are grabbing to something. If you have someone, a friend that can help you, your girlfriend, something like that, that is how I start. So I was going out with my wife and I was putting my hand on her shoulder, and after I start grabbing just her arm on the bottom and trying to go completely straight, and I start learning. And after 3 times that I went out with my electric unicycle, 3 hours later, more or less, I was able to start riding it.
Wow.
But
cool.
I had nobody to teach me, so I needed to figure out the way to use it, because nobody here, I knew nobody here that had an electric unicycle. So I was really scared to start. Damilola he came to collect his Z10 because he had the same issue that I had on mine, so I repaired his wheel. And when he came, I said, yeah, now you come to my house. And he came to my house and he said, you have already went out with your Z10? I said, no, I'm just training here on the wall, a hole of my house.
Yeah.
And he was like, no, you need to go out. And I was like super scared. First thing that I've done, I just throw my electric unicycle inside the small river.
Oh no.
After I was like with my feet inside grabbing the wheel, and he was like on top grabbing me to push me back. And that was my first experience with the electric unicycle. But definitely you need to try. And after that,
you just need to go out and do it, I think. Yeah, you just go all in.
Yeah, now I'm training to go backwards with my electric unicycles. That is hard, but I'm getting there slowly. I'm getting there. So the next question that I have to you is how started your passion? But in a certain way, you told me it was when you were 6 years old, yeah?
Yeah, I wouldn't say that was like the pivotal moment for electric skateboards. I'd say as soon as I got the Gen 2 from Evolve and I got on it, and back then the deck was super bouncy. It was very much like, yeah, you could carve so well. And I remember after I got the GTR, I had that for about a year, and I had to get it serviced by Evolve or by 12, can't remember now. But while it was being serviced, I went back on the Gen 2 and I'm like, wow, this is like so much better than the GT, because it was just so carvy. And remember back then too, the Gen 2 was only, this motor looked like this big steel thing at the back that was only on one wheel, it wasn't on two. Now motors have obviously advanced, they're small and they can be on almost any wheel. But that's when I was like, this is pretty cool, this is awesome. And I like it so much that I want to do videos on it. And sometimes the videos were me just going around a university or taking my dog for a walk. And then like with haven't checked your stats yet, but you'll find too that the video that will go absolutely viral will be one that you never thought would go viral.
Yeah, but the video that I have more views, I have almost 80,000 views. It's the review of these lights that I have on the wall.
Oh yeah, cool. Yeah, who would have thought?
So yeah, I never thought. And it's a bad review.
Yeah, mine was an abandoned building that I raced through really quickly. It was like a 7-minute video. Normally they're about 10 or 12 minutes. And I'm like, I'm not going to cut this. I'm just going to do the full thing. Uploaded it and it got 250,000 views in like 2 weeks. And I'm like, what the hell? And it just went crazy. So you just don't know. And then I had the one with the shark that went crazy.
Yeah, I saw that one.
Yeah, it's just, yeah. And then you get like, yeah, the unfortunate stuff that happened with me making an unlisted video that was in a playlist. I've learnt my lesson on that one. That went crazy. So you just don't know. And then you think, you know, if you do this big tramper experience that I went over to the UK, and we spoke briefly about that too beforehand, that you think that's going to go crazy. And it went all right. I think that each of those videos have got 10,000 views or something, but you think that would go more. And normally you think the ones that you think will go viral don't. The ones that you think will just die go viral. So it's a challenge. You just don't know what's going to happen.
That is the talking about business, because also in the end of the day, that was my objective with this conversation. It was talking more about how all this works, and what is the most difficult part for me to understand how I can live the dream that is to be a YouTuber full time. Is trying to understand where you are making the money in the end of the month, because obviously the bills, they don't stop to come to your door. And where is the investment? Because sometimes you think, oh no, this is going to sell like nuts, and after you sell zero.
You just don't know. And then like some of the channels that I watch, that I find the ones that are making money are the ones that kind of stick to their brand. They evolve the brand and everything, but they stick to a core way of doing photography. They stick to a particular way of editing, and it's unique. So you look at Unbox Therapy, you look at Marcus Brownlee, you look at who else? You look at Peter McKinnon, Cold Fusion, those kind of guys. It's always.
I tried. I sent message to Peter McKinnon to see if I could bring him, but forget it.
Yeah. Good luck with that one.
Yeah. But, in the end of the day, you always have the no. Yeah. So I sent you message the same. I thought, okay, because I had another YouTuber that I'm not going to say the name, also that do reviews of electric skateboards, and I invite him to do the live. He told me, no, I'm not that kind of person. I don't do live streams. I don't feel comfortable. The day after, I was on my phone and I saw another YouTuber that also do reviews of electric skateboards, and so my next guest is this one, and I was like, are you kidding me? You just yesterday you told me that this was not for you. And after I sent him a message, I said, I can see that in the end of the day, what you were saying was not true. And he was like, you know what? You are too small.
Why couldn't you just tell you that? Why couldn't you be honest from the start?
Yeah, I prefer. If you was telling me, for example, that, I have 60,000 subscribers and you just have 3,000, don't get me wrong, but I don't want to be on your channel. No problem at all. I don't get mad.
Yeah, YouTubers forget that they, at one point, were at that level too. And I was watching. There's a really good channel that shows you progress over time about how the big YouTubers started. You know, and you look at Jake Paul, for instance. It took him years to get the momentum going. His brother did it a lot faster, obviously, but he was going along and trickling along, and then all of a sudden it just went crazy. And I love to see that. Even he, at one stage, was small in the scheme of subscribers, right?
We all start by zero.
Yeah, that's why I'm more than happy. Like, I love coming on to a channel like yours. Even if someone had 10 subscribers, I couldn't care, because I know what it's like to be at that stage. And I want to, share with the community, no matter how many subs or how many videos or how often you post or whatever it is, it just doesn't matter.
In the end of the day is the connections that you create. And for me, what I really like about these live streams is I'm making friends that I always saw their videos. Like I had here Robert Ace. It's a super cool guy, and he was the responsible for me to buy the Z10. And he's so much fun. I remember we finished the live and we stayed talking, like HCN, he left and we were still there, and I said, man, bro, I need to go to sleep. It's already very, very, very late. We have another question.
Sure.
Just to don't... So he's asking how much you think that the community has changed over the last 3 years. Now we are more hyperboards than your average boosted. I remember watching a video of I don't know who is this one, and the boosted crew. So what is
Yeah,
your
and he
opinion?
continued on saying there was a real sense of community. It seems the Eastgate scene is almost divided now. I think, like with any community, when it gets bigger, it starts to create subculture or sub-community too. So that's where we're at. And I think when we first started, it was all based on the country or the state that you were in. So we've got Electric Riders Melbourne. There's a Sydney Eastgate scene as well. Then there's no Australia scene. And in America, they've got the New York guys. Over in the UK, you've got Carve UK and another one there as well. So, and I think people are starting to say, well, that's cool. There's a group of people in a country. Why don't we have it based on something else? Let's do it based on brand, or let's do it based on, like the Vaping Eastgater said, hyperboards. Let's have a community based on that. So, and I don't think that's a bad idea. I think it's great because then you can be a part of the Melbourne scene, the hyperboard scene, and the boosted scene if you wanted to. But I agree, it has divided people. I think because everybody that's in, let's say, a La Croix scene or a Tramper scene or a Vol scene, they become so heavily focused on that particular scene that if anyone comes in and says something, even if they're like, oh, I had a really bad fall on a club, that's your fault. It's not the board's fault. You know, it's so quick to judge. And that's what I can see is the issue. Whereas I think we've just got to all realize everyone's, especially like new people into community, seeing that kind of stuff on a community post, you're like, whoa, I'm not going to be a part of this. This isn't what I signed up for. I'm just going to ride my skateboard or my one wheel or EUC around my area, and that's all I want to do. That's cool. But I think we need to kind of say, hang on a second, let's stop blaming everybody. Let's stop blaming skateboards. Let's try and come up with a way that we can be talk as if we're in front of each other. You know?
I agree with you, and I really noticed the difference between the UC community and Eastgate community. It's so much chill out with the UC community than is in Eastgate. Every time that I put a video, imagine I put recently one of a GoPro because I thought, oh, it's quite cool because people do videos and we are always wanting to share what we've done with that skateboard or with that electric unicycle. And I thought, oh, it's cool to share like color grading. And I automatically they went on top of me. With the UC, no, I put a video and people comes and comment and
yeah, 100%.
In the end of the day, if I'm with the GoPro, all the videos that I'm doing about the GoPro, I'm receiving 0. So my main objective is just sharing what I learned by myself. Yep. Nothing more than that. But people don't see the things in that way. And
yeah, look, I even, like, if I think that I've got a video that I'm really proud about and that I've edited for a long time and I think it's going to be really good for people to watch, I'll put that up in some of the groups that are on Facebook or post it in community threads or recommend others post it. But there's one, I won't name them, there is one Facebook group in electric skateboards that I know never to touch. I know never to put anything into because I'm just going to get abused. And it's not because of who I am. It's just, oh, you're trying to get more views. Oh, who do you think you are? And we don't want your stuff. And it's like, hang on a second, I've just created a video that hopefully someone learns from or enjoys. Or
people don't know that to get $2, you need 1,000 views. So
it's crazy. Like in the Australian context, it's 500,000 views equals $1,000. So it's, and you look at how many views I'm getting at the moment, it's nowhere near that. So it's you know, and it spikes, it goes up and down and that, but people just need to chill. People need to just say, hey, there's people who YouTube their experiences and put them online. There's people who comment on social media and put it online. There's people who Instagram it. Like there's a guy called Marley who is from, I wish I knew now, he's from South America, I think, but he put some awesome Instagram content together, and every time I see his name, I'm like, oh, I gotta watch that. I've got to see that. And I wouldn't have seen him unless I'd seen him maybe on Facebook or something. So, yeah, there's a lot of discouragement from a minority amount of people out there that really just need to keep sometimes their opinions to themselves. And if they don't like what you're doing, just ignore it. Just turn it off.
Exactly.
Unfollow it.
I have more important things to do than lose my time sending a message to someone that it's not important for me. So
No. You
that's
keep doing what you're doing, and if the majority of people are enjoying it and you get private messages like, I really enjoyed that video, that's what makes the difference for me. It's not the amount of views or whatever. And views are great, don't get me wrong, but it's someone responding in a positive way.
yeah.
And
Here, for example, vaping e-skater is saying I avoid all Facebook e-skate community groups for that reason.
yeah, look, I don't participate in a lot of Facebook stuff at all. I will promote my stuff in there because that's where people are. But and you'll probably even notice the only people really that are advertising on Facebook, companies, electric skateboard companies, are Evolve. And you'll see if you've gone into the Evolve Facebook page, you're going to get hit every day with ads from Evolve. I still get it. I don't mind it. It's okay because I want to keep up to date with them. But I just find Facebook has now become this kind of, as you scroll through your activity feed, every second post is from a sponsored whoever, you know what I mean? And it's just getting annoying. And that's why, like, I don't do kind of, sometimes like when you particular YouTubers get popular, they get up to maybe 1 million subscribers or something, they start plugging particular brands or enter this coupon code and you receive 10% off. And just like, I don't know if I'll ever do that. I don't think Casey Neistat ever did that. Marcus Brownlee maybe has done it. But you've got to know, you've got to keep your dignity about yourself too. Yeah, you make mistakes and you move on from them and you make sure you don't do them again. But how far are you willing to monetize your channel with ads and then in ads and then maybe commission-based earnings, like if someone buys a board with your coupon code? And, yeah, it really depends. Again, on your situation. Like, for instance, I know with you, you're trying to monetize where you can, and people know who you're working for that we spoke about before I say anything.
Which yeah. It's
yeah,
not
cool.
a problem. It's not.
Yeah, just making sure.
I used to work for these ones.
Oh yeah, there you go.
And they fired me because I'm a YouTuber.
Really?
Yeah.
What? What did you do for them? Were you just working at a shop or working at the office?
I was working in a shop, man. So basically, they invite me to leave the company where I was working before. So I used to sell glasses for basically almost 4 years.
Yep.
And I sold some glasses to one of the managers saying, "Oh man, I really like your work. I really like your customer service. I really want you to come and join Apple." And he was coming almost every week during his lunchtime, like, "When are you leaving from here and you join us?" And I wanted to go to university with this company of glasses. They refused me, and I thought, okay, it's time. I went there. It was less hours, more money. I love Apple products, and I thought, why not? I went there. I really liked it, all the vibe and everything. Start working in there. Start having great results. I was supposed to work just 4 days a week. They was putting me to work 5 days a week. I was supposed to have 1 day in the weekend off. I was working all the weekend.
Jeez.
And yeah, and I'm that kind of person that if I have something to say, I say. Like, even if I have a very good relationship with Ruroc, the beginning of our relationship went really, really wrong. Because I purchased the first Ruroc Atlas, and for me it was garbage. The helmet was terrible. But the new helmet now that I gave a lot of insights to be developed, and it's coming something new that I draw for them and I sent, and they finished to produce. From now on, is like they have a good helmet, and I say what I want to say. For example, I receive a board from Team G.
Yep.
The H9.
Oh yeah, cool.
And yeah, I've done the unboxing. So normally I always do the unboxing, and after I go to ride it, because I like to take all the photos before the wheels are all dirty and everything.
Yeah.
And yeah, I went to a ride. I went to a lake where I normally go every single time. So when I receive something, I go until that lake and I come back home. And man, it was the amount of sag that battery had is stupid. You can't go uphill. It was like just dying. I was like, no, this is terrible. And after I contact the guy and say, listen, your board is shit, man.
You were honest?
Yeah, I said to John, the owner of the company, that forget it. This is terrible skateboard. I'm not you have two options. If you want, I do the review, but you know that I'm going to completely destroy your board. If you don't want, I don't say anything more, and we work with another skateboard if you want. And I told him, listen, if you drop the price of this skateboard for like $400, it's okay. It's a good board for $400, but for almost $700, that was the price of it.
Mm.
That was garbage. I couldn't recommend something like that because
No.
it's like you said. In the end of the day, yes, I monetize because in the end of the day, you know the amount of hours that we put on this. People just see that video have 3 minutes, but you had to film, you had to edit, you had to contact the brands,
Yep.
you had to promote in Facebook and Instagram and
Mhm.
everywhere where you can. So it's a lot of hours, and now I
Yeah, I
can
mean, that's
do.
why I monetize as well, because so much tech goes into what we do. You think about the laptop you've got, the camera that you're using, the microphone, the GoPros when you go out and about.
Yeah.
It all costs money, and really all the money that I make from monetization, which isn't much, goes back into improvements. Like you'll notice as well, like with my live feed, there's new mics all the time, or there's new lights, or I'm just always trying to improve it. But it's not like you're taking this money and going on a holiday. There's no way you could go on a holiday even with the money that you're making.
No.
You just keep chipping away at something that's a hobby. And
Yeah, and in the end of the day, you are always thinking to get more stuff. My main objective this year was to buy a new computer because I have a MacBook Pro mid 2012 with 8 GB of RAM. So sometimes you start having like a stroke when I'm editing.
I know, get an
and,
external GPU, it'll make your life so much better.
and you know how I do my videos?
Apple iMovie, your phone.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, there you go. So they're capable these days. They're that good.
Yeah, but I use this brand.
Moment lenses?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I use their lens. They are really, really good when I'm using them. And yeah, now recently, few weeks before Apple fired me, I said, okay, I'm receiving well. I'm going to invest and I'm going to buy an action camera. And
So with Apple, what did they just say? Look, we need to have a quick chat,
so
and they said you've got a YouTube channel.
basically, so explain to you. So when they invite me, I knew because of the contract. So the contract is like 3 contracts that you have to sign, and one of them is related with information about Apple that you can't obviously share around. And before I left the company where I was before, they told me, listen, you will need to remove all the videos that you have about Apple on your channel, otherwise you can't join Apple. And I said, okay, no problem. In that time I was reviewing the macOS Mojave, and I've done a video about the new, in that time of the new MacBook Pro 15-inch when it came out, the one that had so many problems with the i9 that they have like heating problems.
Yeah, it's the one I've got here.
Are you putting on the freezer?
Yeah.
You saw that
No,
video?
they repaired it for us, so it's all good.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that butterfly keyboard that but yeah, so I said, okay, no problem. I will I hide 15 videos, so I took them down. And because my channel also was not going in that direction anymore. So in the beginning, I couldn't get any products to review. So I thought, okay, it's coming out the macOS Mojave, so let's talk about it. And I've done like 10 videos about the macOS Mojave, maybe. But after my channel went in a completely different direction, I understood how I could get some products for free. I remember I was on holiday and I was thinking, I was trying to contact some companies and they all say no to me. And until I thought, wait, I'm small. I was 300 subscribers in that time. I thought, I'm small, but there are also companies, they are just starting. So I started went to Kickbooster and Indiegogo and contacting those brands, starting to build a relationship in the moment that they was just starting. And I will never forget Alpaca, that is a brand of backpacks. And I started working with them. Was the first company. They sent me. I basically, and now I'm ambassador of the brand.
Amazing.
And yeah, we are very, very good friends. When they knew that also I lost my job, they give more discounts to my followers to try to help in the sales. But man, I'm really thankful for what I have on YouTube, because otherwise I'll be with my hands tied at this moment. and it's difficult. I can't get any job at the moment.
So just jumping back though, so you were working at Apple, you took away your Apple videos from the past, and then
I start working there, and 1 month and a half later they called me and they said, listen, we need to talk. And I was like, okay, let's talk. Yeah, everything is fine. You have a good relationship with your colleagues. You are selling quite well, but we need to talk about something. I said, what it is? What you think about closing your YouTube channel?
Oh,
Literally, it was like this, and I was like, I looked to the guy. I almost started crying. I thought, I'm in trouble, and I said to him, listen, what you are asking me is to don't be myself. Because the YouTube channel I do, first of all, I do in my spare time. I don't talk about Apple, so I don't see what is the problem. Yeah, but you have a lot of products that they enter in conflict. Like, for example, you've done some videos of drones, and we sell the drones here, so you can't also talk about brands that we have in store. So this was in October, and after in November, I had like my last probation. And they called me, and I thought I worked really well. In that day, I was the best business lead. And yeah, in the end of the day, I work all day. They called me upstairs, and they told me, yeah, you've done really well. Your results are really good. How do you think that you went this experience at Apple until now? I said, yeah, it's been good, but I was like concerned. And I was saying to my wife, I have the feeling they are going to fire me. And she was like, no, you are always negative. You can't be like that. Everything was going to be fine. And man, I never been treated like that in any place in my life. The guy said, listen, your YouTube channel will continue to be a problem. In that time, because I was thinking that this is going to give me a lot of problems, so I block almost 53 or 54 videos on my channel. So basically, half of the videos that I've done in that time, and I hide them to don't be fired, obviously, because I needed the money to pay my bills. And he said to me, man, you are fired because your YouTube channel is a problem for us. And I said, can you go to my channel? And he went to my channel. Why is a problem? You don't see that I remove headphones, I remove speakers, all those stuff. And his answer was like, yeah, but backpacks is a problem. I said, backpacks? But we don't cover backpacks. We don't sell backpacks. So what is the problem that I cover backpacks? But some stores around the world, we sell some backpacks. I said, okay, you said everything. And then I said, oh, give me the Isaac, that is the device to do the sales. And can you take out your shirt, please? You have to give me back.
Oh, and that was it on the spot.
Yeah, so I was like in the first floor in the shop. So the floor is like, the shop is 2 floors. And I took out the shirt and I went downstairs without my shirt, everything. I was so mad. And all my colleagues, there was like, I remember that I was down and everyone was seeing me that I was really agitated. I just wanted to punch walls, you know. Because until today, it really hurts me because I really loved to work there. And my colleagues, it was amazing. We were staying behind, like eating some pizzas and playing some arcade games. And I really liked the vibe, you know. I didn't like it. It was the managers. Yeah, when I was leaving, some colleagues, they stopped crying and everything was really hard.
Do you have laws over there as well that you can have unfair dismissal for things that...
Yeah, I was in probation, so...
Oh, okay. Yeah,
I couldn't do nothing. I tried because I wanted to put them in court. But I couldn't do anything. But yeah, let's come back to the conversation of skateboards, not...
No, yeah, I just feel bad for you. I mean,
no, man, don't be.
Face was saying, he put a video out last night just saying how during this COVID stuff, we really need to stick together and band together. And he was saying even like Richard Branson and the guy who runs Amazon, I can't remember his name at the moment, but that they've fired all these people, these billionaires who are just making so much money and they're shortchanging all their thousands of staff when they should be helping them. It's just doesn't make sense. You know, these big corporates get away with this kind of stuff all the time.
Yeah, it was like my after that I started working for a company of recruitment, And yeah, I work until the last moment, and until the lockdown happens here in the UK. Like 30 minutes before they close the door, you are fired. I was in probation also because so I lost my job at Apple in November. I started working in this new job in February, and yeah, I had like 6 months of probation. So go home. And now I have to reinvent myself. But in the same time, it's like even today I was talking with my wife, and maybe the coronavirus is just giving me the opportunity to 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 get the things done to go where I want to be, if it makes sense. Because I want to do this full time. I want to be a YouTuber full time because I really love. And in the end of the day, I think money is important, but happiness is more important than money.
Totally. Like I even see that those that have lost their jobs around me, even my wife lost her job, see it, you know, it's kind of like a death in the family, right? You go through, you're really sad, then you start to accept it, and then you start to see maybe where this could be beneficial for you too, or for the people around you. So like a cleanse, right? So like with her, she's like, no, I can really focus on my kids now. I can make sure that they're happy, that they're safe, that, you know, and, you know, with my job that can support us, that's fine for now. And, you know, other people who are in really bad situation, like they don't have any savings or whatever, they've, you know, the government's assisting them, which is really good, but they've gone, okay, well, what do I want to do? Like I've been working in a reception at a dentist for 20 years and I'm getting nowhere. I'm doing the same thing every day. Maybe I can go and see what I like to do, and it could be knitting, or it could be anything. Who knows? But just like what you're saying there too, it could be an opportunity to find what you're really interested in, or something that you didn't even know you were interested in, and go forward.
I know. So basically, I started doing these videos because I was a professional musician in my country. That's why on my videos you always see a keyboard. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have three. And I used to be the keyboard player of the official tribute band of Muse in my country, in Portugal.
That's awesome.
And yeah, it was really cool times. 4 years of band. And when I arrived here, I tried to continue to play. So that's why I sent all my keyboards to the UK. And I thought, yeah, in the UK is going to be amazing. And because I came to the UK because half of my band moved to the UK. So my vocal lives in Milton Keynes. So that's why I moved to Milton Keynes. And my bass player lives in London. So we started playing together, but it was not the same vibe because he was missing the other two. It was missing my like I always call my bitch, that was my drummer, like my soulmates in the band, you know. And it was missing also the guitar player, that was the guy that basically balanced everything. It's really hard to work with me as a musician because I'm really like, I want this perfect.
Just like a laser. Yeah.
And yeah, that's it. But let's come back to this, otherwise people gets bored about our conversation. But yeah, Vincent, thank you very much. But I will have to check if I can turn on the super chat, because I'm not sure if with 3,000 subscribers I can have the super chat turned on. I need to double check.
I'll have to check it out too for you. Yeah.
I don't remember. But yeah, my next question. So I'm curious. So you have your own company. What you do?
Yeah, so where I am right now, there's normally a whole bunch of guys in here. We are a digital agency, and we create what we like to say is like engaging experiences for brands. So it's not just creating a website or a Facebook campaign or something like that. It's more about creating a website that engages and converts. So it'll tap into what that person's looking for, what their interests are, get the content they want, but also to convert them. And a conversion could be filling out a form, downloading a document, checking out on an online store, submitting a request, whatever it is, right? But we figure out what the objective is for the client, but we also figure out the objective for the user. What does the user want to achieve? What does the business want to achieve? And then we bring that together. So we're working with some big companies. We work with BMW. We work with a lot of petroleum companies. We work with massive councils and stuff over here. And all the guys are working from home at the moment. Yeah, business has been in business for 19 years. And yeah, we've got a pretty decent space. It's in what's called it's like a community hub. I think they're all over the world. It's like the WeWork setup, but it's not called WeWork. So to give you a quick little tour, I wonder if I can do this. Turn that off. I don't know if this is going to...
That's why I want to connect my GoPro, you see?
Yeah.
You can just go and after you show. But now it's just on Facebook.
There we are. I'll pick you up again. So normally that's got a whole bunch of skateboards on that rack, but all the guys, ever since I started doing YouTube, and I've got about 35 skateboards, like electric skateboards at home, I bring them in and the guys use them. So when they decided that we'd be working remotely, they took a bunch of skateboards from there. But as you can see there, that's a Loaded X Unlimited and a dot board. Wherever it is, yep. And then, I just like, while I'm working from here, I just chuck up stuff on that TV. It could be like music or Joe Rogan or whatever as I'm working away. And then how's this for a view, huh? So that's the city there, City of Melbourne.
Oh, I would love to be in Melbourne one day because I think you have you can ski, during the winter and you can surf. So
it's funny you say that. Last night was the first time snow fell in our Alpine region. And now all the roads up to those areas are covered in snow, but no one can go up there. It's all this social distancing, and apparently our Australian government in the next couple of weeks will start to ease restrictions where clothing stores, shoe stores, some restaurants, and you can travel more than up to 50 kilometres away from your house. At the moment, you can't travel any more than 5 kilometres from your house. So they're going to start to ease that off, and hopefully make it a bit more enjoyable, and you can probably head up to the snow. Are you a boarder or you're a skier?
I used to ski. I don't ski since I came to the UK, and I used to surf in Portugal. So because in Portugal, I used to work as a sales manager, and my life was really, really stressful. So I started surfing because of that, And
you need an escapism.
I love it. And I was wake up in 5, 6 in the morning, going to surf, after going to the office full of sand. In the morning, just to have the meeting with the bosses, and after going to pick my team, putting them to work in the field because we was selling door-to-door telecommunications. And I love it. I love it to motivate people. And I remember I had one girl that used to work for me, and she was not a very good salesman. And I needed to change the ship on her mind, And one day she was like, I can't sell anything. I'm going to give up. And I said to her, are you a woman or are you a rat? And she was like crying and looking to me. I'm a woman. And after she left the car and she was screaming. I remember it was quite hot. I was with the windows open, and she was like to me, I'm a woman. I'm not a rat. I'm a woman.
She remembered.
And until today, she works for the company. Now I think she's in recruitment. But I have very good memories. I've done very, very good friends. One of my best friends, unfortunately, he had to come back to Brazil, so I don't see him for many, many years. But his life, I'm here now in the UK also, so is how it is. And one question related with your job is YouTube is how you manage your personal life, YouTube, and obviously your family. Because for me, I know that it's hard.
Yeah, luckily at the moment, the wife is she's a stay-at-home mum, looking after 2 kids, which means that by the time it hits 8 o'clock at night, she's straight to bed, which leaves me 2 or 3 hours where I can get some stuff done. So I'll either go out for a night ride, or I'll do some editing, or I'll catch up on comments or whatever as well during that time. And then luckily she is a nice wife. She'll she's never said no to me going overseas at the moment. To go, the last 3 years I've been over to New York, UK, France, all that kind of stuff. And so she's good like that too. And then if I do need to go out and do a skateboard review, normally I'll get up super early, 6, that's not super early, but 6 o'clock in the morning. By the time I get back, the kids are up and they've had their breakfast, and we can start our day. So I try and find time where it doesn't affect the family. I spend as much time with the family as I can. And then I don't let too much my YouTube stuff affect my work. So for instance, having right now it's 11:15 in the morning on a Friday. Normally I'd be working a lot, and I've come in early. I've come in at 7:30 so we can have an hour or so chat, so that it doesn't affect the hours that I'm working for work as well. I like to kind of keep a certain amount of hours that I do with work to make sure that as the boss or the director of the company, that the people underneath me can see that I'm not slacking off. I'm not one of those bosses that will just go out for lunch for 3 hours or something. I'm focused on making a difference and getting the work in and keeping everybody motivated.
And that is the way that they respect you. Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully.
I was always in the street with them. I remember one time they all sent me message saying like, we can't sell anything. This street that you put us is rubbish. And I was like, okay, which buildings that you knock? This. Okay, give me 1 hour, we talk. I was like furious, like going like on the doors.
Yeah.
And I close the contract. I call all the team, and I said, listen, guys, you guys are working already for 1 hour and a half. I just went and I just closed a contract in a building that you've been. So what is your excuse?
Exactly.
It's just
Set
your
the example.
mentality.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was a very stressful job, but I love it. I love it.
That's it. Anything for a challenge.
My next question, bro, is street tires, road tires, or all-terrain tires?
All for different purposes. If, for instance, like if I'm in the city where I am right now and I'm jumping around to meetings, I would normally use the Exway Flex, or I'd use the one wheel pint. So two different tires there completely, but they're both fun. They're both zippy. They both get you where you need to go. But if I really want to get out there and rip it up, I'm on fat tires. I'm on 8-inch wheels, on the tramper board or the Baja board. I think they're 10-inch on the Baja board. And yeah, just going as hard as I can, ripping past people at a safe distance, obviously. And you hear it all the time. Like you fly past them, like, "Whoa, what was that?" You can hear it as you're going past. And you're like, "Look it up." And most of the time, I'm wearing a T-shirt that says "Yes, it's electric" on the back. So it's cool. And then if I do stop and I'm just on the phone or something, people will start to gather around and they're like, "What's that? Where can I get it? How fast does it go? What's the range like?" And you just get hit with questions. I love answering it. And I give out little cards to our community, and they're like, if you want to, go in and ask questions so you get the right board for yourself, whatever you're wanting it to do. So there's a board for everybody out there now, for every different type of terrain or range or speed or whatever it is. Some are a bit more expensive than others, but yeah, there's definitely something for everyone. And that's why if I'm in the city, I'm going to use something that's a bit lighter, it's a bit more versatile. I can heave it up a staircase. There's no way I would bring a tramper board into the city. Because if I'm trying to lug that up a staircase, it's bulky, it's awkward. But if I'm out at a park or a bushland or whatever, I can just rip it up and just chuck it back in the car when I'm done with it.
And that is one of the things that I love about electric unicycles. You just come out, you just open the handle.
It's got like a suitcase luggage thing, it's convenient.
It's amazing, man. You can put inside a locker in the gym, something that you can do with the skateboard, only if it's a very small one.
Yeah.
But for me, for example, here in the UK, it have to be all-terrain. Because
it has to be like, your cobblestone paths and, the roads are a little bit cracked here and there, and you got to be ready for that.
Yeah, so that's why I prefer. This one is like, I use when I'm like stressed or something like that. I had a shitty day. I just pick this one. I have one part that the floor is quite good, and I just go there and I curve for a while and nothing more,
Yeah.
Just to enjoy it. Next question is double kingpin or single?
Double kingpin or single?
Yeah. What do you prefer?
Double kingpin's really only on the Evolve boards that I use. I don't. To me, it's going to sound weird, but it doesn't make too much of a difference for me.
Okay, because there are persons that prefer obviously the stability of a single than double. I prefer the double.
Yeah, it's a personal preference, but for me, I don't really, because there's so many boards I ride, I don't notice that much of a difference. I think if it was an Evolve board and a Exway board, one with single, one with double, I'd probably tell the difference, but it doesn't make too much of a difference for me.
You have here a question from the Black Cobra. What is the best off-road board for a guy with 225 lb?
So heavy. What's how much is 225 pounds?
And it's 104 kilos.
Well, I'm at 80 kilos, so it's not too far off. you're looking at a heavy board. Baja, Tramper, Lacroix.
Lacroix is sexy.
Backfire.
The Lacroix is sexy.
Oh, it is, man. Yeah, it is.
The controls are better because I never tried it. Because that was one of the complaints about
Yeah, I can't remember what config it's using. It might be a Flipski remote. I can't remember. But ooh, someone's here to see me, so I might have to finish this off very soon anyway.
Okay.
Yeah, one of those three major boards would be the best, whatever you can afford. Yeah.
Next question. So I will try to do this very quick so I can reach the end. Next question is: do you use skateboards as your main transport? Like,
do I use? Sorry, I'm just a bit distracted. What did you say?
If you use your electric skateboards as your main transport or not?
Do I? Yeah, not for main transport. I live 40 minutes away from the city, so I drive in most days. But then for lunch, I'm out. I'll go and grab lunch from somewhere on my skateboard, or I might go for a ride if I need to clear my head. Weekends, definitely skateboarding everywhere. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Because for me, it's like whatever is the distance I go with my. That is also when you use an electric unicycle, the range is so much bigger. Only obviously if you go to a much bigger electric skateboard.
Yeah.
Why do you start doing? Why you start doing some videos with abandoned places?
I think that was before skateboards, actually. Yeah, like when I was younger, I don't know, you might have done the same thing when you're younger. You'd see like a house being built and it only had the frame up. And you'd be like, oh, I'm going to go in there just as a bit of fun as a kid. And you go in, and I'd love to go out and go in and like say, oh yeah, that's going to be the bathroom, that's the bedroom, that's the family room, or whatever, right? You just try and paint a picture. And then when you get a bit older, you feel like a bit weird going into these places. But in Melbourne, for instance, there are hundreds of abandoned buildings, abandoned corporate buildings or commercial buildings as well as residential buildings. And you go in and you find some of the craziest things. You're on top of these old abandoned building rooftops, and there's spray paint everywhere. There's junkies. There's homeless people, and you just hear some crazy stories. And
I love those shits, man. In September, it will be cool if one day you could go. In September, we celebrate the wines in my region, and Setúbal is one of the best regions of wines of Portugal. Nice. And so we have like 1 week that we are celebrating the wines. You have big artists singing on the streets, and you don't pay anything. The only thing that you pay is some bottles. The most expensive bottle that you can normally buy in those nights is like €7 per bottle. So
amazing.
It's really, really cheap.
What a great time.
And after, I should not say this, but we take the cars, yeah? So after I need to go by the mountains, really slow to come back home, you know? And because the conditions are not the best to come back home, what we do is I get is a ritual. So we stop the car next to one thing that is called the Arca d'Água. That is you have a small door and you enter inside the tunnel. And that tunnel, it was basically the way that the water was brought to the city. So you can do few meters inside the Arca d'Água. Is really, really old. And we always stop there, or you have like a convent of nuns in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
And but now you can't go because they are reconstructing that for tourism. But yeah, I normally always do that every single time, every single year when I go. I need to do that tunnels.
That's so good. Yeah, just to freak yourselves out or to get your adrenaline pumping.
Yeah,
it's cool. Yeah, and sometimes you think that you've seen a ghost or you hear something. There's an old mental asylum. It's about half an hour from here, and every time you go in, swear to God, you hear a little, what do they call it, like a musical box? Mm-hmm. You can hear it, and a little girl, like a 3-year-old girl, gives you a little giggle. And it's the weirdest thing. You're like, that's it, I'm out. I have tried to get it on camera and video, but as soon as you turn your camera off, you hear it, and you're like, oh my God, they know. So, yeah.
I believe in those things. I definitely
believe. Yes, supernatural stuff, for sure.
This is a question of a YouTuber for a YouTuber. You felt that since you started doing your abandoned houses that you divided your followers, or do you feel that who follows you for electric skateboards really enjoy your videos related with
Yeah,
abandoned houses?
a lot. My YouTube channel is my name, right? So what I enjoy is on that channel, and it's abandoned buildings, it's Final Cut Pro edits, it's electric skateboards. Could in the future be bikes, electric bikes. I'm looking at the Super 73s at the moment. Might be getting one of those if the wife lets me. Who knows, right? But that's where people can subscribe for the electric skateboard stuff. They can subscribe for the abandoned building stuff and just focus on that. But they know that the channel is mine, like it's me. It's not unbox therapy where it's just always unboxing. It's not e-skate reviews, and it's just.
But you felt doing that your it dropped, your channel stopped growing as fast, or
No, it's probably helped actually, because people, I get it all the time. Even yesterday, an ex-girlfriend of mine called up and said, "I just wanted to let you know that my sister was she was on YouTube with her boyfriend yesterday, and one of my videos of the abandoned buildings was recommended to her. Her and her boyfriend watched it for the whole afternoon about all the abandoned building stuff, and then her boyfriend realized that there's electric skateboards, and he's gone out and he's bought himself an electric skateboard. So it kind of works with each other. And it's funny, like a lot of people that are into the electric skateboarding stuff, like Matty from Evolve, for instance, he found out about me because of his job. But then he's like, holy shit, this guy does abandoned buildings as well. I'm going to get him up and show him all the abandoned buildings near me. So it works. It kind of works with each other. So I've been told by other people, you should really split your channel into two and focus on that kind of stuff because you'll get more viewership. But I'm like, no, because like I want to have one channel where it's me. And that channel might one day, maybe 3 or 4 years from now, might not be electric skateboards anymore. I might get over that. Highly unlikely, but that could happen. And I still have my my channell that I can.
It will be electric unicycles.
Likely. Once I can write them.
So I already know the answer, but do you have already tried the electric unicycle? If yes, why we don't see you in one?
I've did one video about 5-6 months ago, something like that, and it was me trying to ride one and failed miserably. And I tried so much before that and after that to ride it because they look so cool. Like you're on a group ride and they're like phew, straight past you and their lights are going crazy and the music's pumping and all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, that looks quite cool. And you can ride it in all kinds of weather and it's really versatile. The charge is 100-kilometer range. Just makes sense, right? So here and there.
The 100 is very, very relative. Normally, like we say, is like if an electric skateboard is saying that you do 140 kilometers, like mine, supposedly, that is the range of mine, 140 kilometers.
Wow.
You divide it by 2, and after you divide it again, and you have a more
realistic range. It's funny, even a lot of skateboarding companies really increase their specs as well, just to try and sell boards. And I find too, it's about 30% less than what they claim, but I'm probably 30% bigger than the average person testing their boards too. So who knows?
I believe that they test around with someone with 70 kilos.
Likely,
more or less my weight. But for example, when I review the Ralde Carbon AT, I don't know if you tried that one. Ralde Carbon AT. So basically, the Ralde is the company that in their factory, for example, they produce the meals from Rob, you know. Meals, like they've done a very small one, and I remember to say on the community, don't buy the new meals because it's not going to work, because I knew that they was not doing the sales they wanted, because they needed to sell 2,000 electric skateboards and they was not selling it. And basically Ralde was trying to buy the design and everything from Mills. And I don't know after what happens, but basically all the company left Ralde. Now they are supposedly different persons, but I used to work also with Ralde, but it didn't went in the way that I expected. But that will be for another story.
Totally, mate. No, that's good. I just looked up Super Chat for you. The requirements are that you can't be age restricted, you can't be unlisted. Oh, hang on, no. Your channel is monetized. Yours is monetized? Yeah. You're over 18 and you're in one of the available locations.
Yeah,
And you're in the
definitely.
UK, aren't you? Your
Yeah,
channel's registered, yeah, and it's possible. So just go into
okay.
your settings and turn it on.
I will do it. I will do
Yeah.
it. Thank you, man. And
Of course.
my next question, that is basically where, basically in the end, is what do you think is the best? So forget your love about electric skateboards, okay? Because we
Mhm.
already know that is your love. My love is UCs, but I like
Yep.
to be precise in what I think. Which one you think that is going to be the best way of transportation? If you think about electric unicycles and electric skateboards, which ones you think that have more potential?
Well, yeah, the amount of people currently on personal electric vehicles, PEVs, scooters are just winning big time. Um, but by best, do you mean best experience or?
You think that is a like, for example, I give you my example. I love my electric skateboards that I have 5 at home, and I love my electric unicycles that I have 2. But even if I have 5 electric skateboards,
You're always going to be
my
using.
thing is the electric unicycle because I feel that is much safer. So, like for example, in 6,000 kilometers, besides the first 300 that I fall quite often because it was the first 300 kilometers, I fall 2 times in 6,000 kilometers. When I'm in the electric skateboard, I know that that is going to happen. One more mile, one less mile, because I like to go crazy and I like
Yeah.
to go over bumps and stuff,
Yep.
So for me, I love my skateboards, but for me is like a toy, if you want.
Mhm.
I use them for enjoying that moment, and I see the electric unicycle as a real transport. It's something that I know that I can go to work, come back home, and after going until the other side, then I know that I have range, and I don't have to be concerned that, oh, I will not be able to arrive home. So that's
Mm.
my question: is for you,
I think
looking
the
for all
first.
the things, what you think that is the best?
I don't know if yeah, it's a personal preference really. For instance, you find that EUCs are the best for transportation, whereas one of the guys here, Chris de Boer, who's part of our Melbourne group, he rides a Stoke everywhere and a Volstoke. He loves it. He gets his kick out of it, but he also that's how he gets around the city. Ooh, what's that? Oh, that's your
But
GoPro.
I didn't check. Oh, people from Facebook, if they are not here, also they don't have other options to see it.
No worries, but I don't know, like if you can say best. I would say for me, I get a kick out of mostly the skateboards. You get a kick out of the ECs. If in terms of what I think will be legalized, scooters will be first, just because there's more of them, and I think there's more of a push, and because of all the scooter ride sharing, whatever you call it, over in overseas, like from us, there's a lot of stats that show that scooters have a lower amount of injuries than skateboards. It'll be a progressive thing, I think, that scooters will, and then they'll be like, all right, anything personal that has to be clocked at a certain amount of speed. Range is irrelevant as long as it gets people around. As long as it's like, I'm looking out now, the amount of cars and trucks and everything that are out there that only got one person in them, and all they're doing is getting around the city. Yeah, stop that truck from being on the road, and you can put a miniature little personal electric vehicle on that person, and off they go. It makes so much sense from an environmental point of view, speed point of view, everything.
Yeah,
So
and you don't. Something that I was always stressed when I was going to work is was to, if I was leaving 5 minutes late, I knew that I was going to be stuck in the traffic, and in opposite to take 20 minutes to arrive where I wanted because I used to park quite far, and after going the rest on the electric skateboard, I knew that I'll be late. So
exactly. And look, it's funny. If it's a nice day, I can ride my skateboard from where I live into the city, and it takes me the same amount of time with traffic. It's
it's amazing.
yeah, and once I've got in, I'm feeling great. You know, skateboarding isn't a very good form of exercise, but you are moving, you are kind of using your core and all that kind of stuff. So by the time you're in, you feel like you've had a little bit of a workout, had fresh air.
More than
You know,
if you
you've
are sitting on your car, yeah.
sitting around listening to crappy radio. You're out and about listening to what's going on in the world. It's in your real world. It's much better.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. My
Cool.
two is basically more four very small questions. So, what is your favorite brand of electric skateboards?
Uh, brand. Um, I think Tramp is great for their culture and what they're putting together. I think Evolve's doing very well from a corporate business long-term kind of way of doing things. And I even think Exway is doing well because they're very aggressive in what they're doing. They're utilising the past media that has been surrounding Evolve and Exway and made it positive for themselves and shown good communication. I think they're at the moment struggling to get the boards out because of what's happened with COVID and shipping fees and things like that. But those that I think are trying to lead the way from a skateboarding point of view.
And what is your favorite remote control?
Oh, good question. I'm like the more simple, the better. I like the Trample one. It's got the smallest little screen. Yeah. You don't need to be looking at your screen all day.
Is it slightly like square and in metal? Yeah. Is that?
Yeah, that's it. It's the Vesk wand I like the most. It's just up, down.
Yeah.
Power on. That's it.
The first time that I saw that one was in the Electric Games in France.
Gotcha.
Because it was quite recent that remote they was just producing in that time, I believe.
Were you there last year?
No, I was not, but I saw some videos of people there, and they was showing the control. I remember. Yeah. I would love to have been there, but I couldn't.
Yeah, next time.
Next time, I hope so. And which is your favorite board?
The one that I love to get out and about on is the Tramper Spurkeys electric board, but for your day-to-day use, I'd probably even say the Pint because it's just fun. It's different. It raises eyebrows. It asks, people on the street want to know a lot about it, so it's a really good way to communicate with people. I haven't had any of the issues like others where it just stops and it nosedives and you go forward, luckily. But I think those two are my favorites that I ride around on the most. Yep.
And when we talk about brakes, you like them soft or aggressive?
I like to know that if I slam the brake down, it's going to slam, but if I do it slowly, it's going to be slow. So it's got a nice, clean curve on that brake that, depending on where my thumb is or the finger, whatever it is that I'm using, that it's going to do as I want. Yeah. Not that if I...
This remote, I hate it, is a crappy one. For sure, you have already used few skateboards with this remote. Yeah. But I really like the sensation of how it is compared to this type of ones. So
that looks like the Exway. Yeah.
This one is from the lift board, and this one is the one of Ralde.
Yeah.
But this one, like the brakes, for me, maybe because of the experience that I had that accident and I really hurt myself, I really like that in the beginning is quite smooth and it's not violent. I remember one time that I was with the Ralde, I saw just the van and I brake really hard, but I could feel, he let me do the transition of my legs. So I really like that. Yeah, so that's why I was curious to know which
I would say for anyone, they've got to experience what their braking is like if they do it full speed, so that in their head they know if they're going to do that again, to be how ready do they have to be, how far do they have to be back before they hit that brake. It's kind of like when you first start a car. Like when you buy your car for the first time, you really need to go about 40 k's and slam that brake on and feel what it's like to do it. Sometimes the brakes will do what they say, but sometimes they might shift or they might take forever. So at least you know what the experience is going to be before you have to do it, like
definitely
in a bad way. Yeah.
But that is also something that I like about EUCs, because you are so much in control. You can change the direction and in that instant.
Yeah, you can quickly maneuver around something. But yeah, like if it's a big board like a Tramper board, you're like, crap, and you just go straight into it.
we have to put you riding electric unicycles.
Yeah, I'll make it happen.
I will convert you. Guys, anyone have any questions before we leave?
I think we're good.
Otherwise, we are finishing the live.
Cool. Yeah, and I've got a meeting 10 minutes ago that I'll get to. But no, it's been fun. I appreciate you having me on.
Thank you very much, man. It was a pleasure to talk to you. Everything for all your videos that you've done in the past. Like I said, it's not. I think a person is not defined by a moment; is by the total.
Yeah, exactly. And I hope you.
Otherwise, we was leaving our wives after just one discussion.
Exactly. I just hope you don't end up on that unwanted list. I'm sure you won't. I saw that there's been no thumbs down, so I think you're doing a great thing. Even though, you have smaller subscribers than what you deserve, I'm sure you're going to get there quickly.
Thank you, man. Thank you very much for your time, man.
No
But yeah,
problem.
guys, thank you very much to have been here for us. I see you guys in the next live in Friday, and Monday is coming new videos out. And one is quite a funny one because it's washing my Z10, something that I saw someone doing in a way horrible. So I decided to do a video for you guys, but it went really wrong because the microphone was not working. But
Oh,
yeah, I tried
damn.
to put everything together. And Wednesday will be another video about the GoPro. So thank you very much, guys. See you soon, and enjoy your life. And I see you next time.
Enjoy your wife or life? What was that?
Life. See you guys.